Welcome everybody to our first call of November, our Magnification Call. Thank you so much for joining us. This is November 1st, 2020. Welcome, Richard Paul Evans.
Thank you, sir. And for those who are new here, we call it a magnification call because it's about magnifying your life. And that's, we want to help you magnify your life. We want to help you have more, to live life more abundantly. Where have you heard that? Tonight, I have something interesting I want to talk about. I hope it's always interesting, but tonight I want to talk about what I've learned during this season of the pandemic in politics. Okay? And some suggestions for you as well. And some things I've learned because I've made some mistakes during this time and I've learned from my mistakes. So first thing I learned is to focus on what you really want, not the usual way of getting there. I have not gone on book tour this time around with my book release, and yet I have met and talked to more people, I think, than if I had been on book tour. This is something that's characteristic of human nature, is that we don't look for the alternative paths unless our road is closed up. Okay, so unless our current route is blocked, we don't look. We are creatures of habit, and we just follow the same path over and over. And then when something falls in our way, then we start looking at, oh, maybe there's another way to get there. And guess what? Sometimes the ways to get there are better. That we've been doing it a more difficult way. So that's why sometimes we'll find that it's a blessing. So the real key is to think, what is it that we want? What's our real goal here? I find, and we've talked about this before, but I find that sometimes we just get so caught up. We get so caught up in the process that we just start to get some more people in. And Michael, you're watching the waiting room? Yeah? No? Oh, Diane just got on. Diane, hi Diane, she's up at Snowbird. I'm going to, I don't know if I can do that. Michael has to. Allow you to let people in because we have the waiting room here because we've opened it up to a lot of people tonight. So,
Okay.
So, and welcome Julianne. She's one of our Noels. I know that name. She came to my drive-by book signing the other night. So we're talking tonight about things I've learned during this pandemic season. So again, to first focus on what you really want, not the way you are used to getting it. Second, humans are resilient and clever. I helped Scott Rasmussen, if you know the Rasmussen reports. Scott's a co-founder of ESPN. I helped him I helped him edit and publish a book called Politics Has Failed, but Americans Have Not. And what he discovered, and this is a very smart man, what he discovered is that problems are solved on a very local, basic level. And so that when we actually get down to it, people will find a way. And I've seen this. Have you noticed this? People will find a way. I've learned something in leadership, and that is to not dictate too much to someone of how to get a job done, because they might have a better idea than I do. And so when you just leave people to their own devices, they'll do things that will truly surprise you. I love this. I love seeing how resilient people really are. I see people finding a way in spite of difficulties. Okay, that's the second thing I learned. Humans are resilient and clever. Third, people truly need people. We feel that hunger for each other. I think that's the reason why our No Elf group, the No Elves, came together, because people wanted something to do. The day my book came out, and I was working with the No Elves. The No Elves is a group that we compiled to help me launch this book. Now I have some people who are helping me who have millions of followers, right? They have more than all of our group combined by far, by multiples, but it's not the same. And frankly, I wanted to be involved with this group. And it turned out to be mostly women. I think, Chuck, you're one of our rare men in the group. But one of the women wrote on the day of the release, she said, "This is a day I won't forget because it's the best day I've had all year." I thought, why is that? Why was that her best day? It's like, because she was with a group of people that were like-minded towards one goal and who liked each other. There were a lot of jokes that were going on. There was a lot of compassion being shared, a lot of people just reaching out to help each other. Well, we really need each other. I used to wonder why it was that if, and think of how stressful and violent the environment is in prison, and yet people would still rather be in that violent environment than be in solitary confinement. That's how they punish people. They take them out of the violence. You think, how could that be? But the truth is, it's because we have to have that human touch. We have to have that communication with each other. Okay, the fourth thing I've considered: don't act because of fear. Okay, act because it's the right thing to do. I actually heard a really fascinating sermon on grace today, and it answered a question I've had for a long time. And he was talking about what the nature of grace, and my feelings about grace have changed through time. I always believed in the earned grace, not realizing that that's not possible. That once it's earned, it becomes wage. And but the question I had for them is, well, if it doesn't, if people aren't like saved, if they don't have a better resume because they do the right thing, then why would anyone do the right thing? And it was good to be actually trapped in my question, because if you're doing the right thing because you're afraid, then you're acting from fear, and fear is ultimately a very selfish reason to do things. Well, I'm afraid, so I might get punished. When you act from that standpoint, from fear, then because people are clever, they'll find a way around the rule. It's it's the stick or the carrot, and if you're acting your life from the stick, trying to avoid the stick, then your only goal isn't to move ahead. Your goal is to not get hit by the stick. So we found this actually in psychology with operant conditioning. They said that negative conditioning was less easy to control the outcome, because the only real outcome of negative conditioning was to avoid pain. Now, if we can lift something higher, you're here tonight not to avoid pain, probably. You're here because you want something greater. So it's the carrot. It's the chance to magnify, to have life more abundant. So that's so I start looking at what do I do out of fear. I also learned that people make excuses to mask their fear. And so rather than facing the fear and saying, look, I'm not going out because I'm afraid this might happen, they'll make up another reason. Well, I didn't go there because I might get someone sick. I didn't do that. I didn't help the neighbor because this COVID thing. I see a lot of that. And as you know, in our community, we are all about authenticity and transparency. I don't care if what you're doing is, to some degree, I don't care if it's unethical. I'm more concerned with the lie that it's unethical. People doing horrific things and putting a smiling face on it scares me far more than someone say, yeah, I hit him because I wanted to, because I was angry at him. Because when people make excuses for their actions, that's when it gets scary. I hit him because he was a Jew. And Jews are trying to control the world. And why don't you just face the truth of what your real motivations are? I've discovered that immoral people rely more on virtue signaling than moral people. The people out there waving their hands and say, look how good I am, are usually the ones who are more concerning. And this is, I've already seen, but you see there's a lot of virtue signaling going on right now. And I remember watching Jordan Peterson talk about, they're talking about what's the most important thing to do. And you've seen me, one of my quotes, and maybe, well, actually it's in Noel Letters. It says, don't express your love for the masses and hate your next door neighbor. Anyone thinks they can love this unseen entity. I'm amazed at how many people tell me that it's like, I'm not racist. I'm the opposite of racist. It's like, well, the first thing I learned from my Black friends growing up, because all my friends were Black in my neighborhood, we were very poor, and that's sad to say, but so my best friends, all 4 of them were Black because they were poor too. And I remember one of them saying to me, he goes, "You're prejudiced." And I said, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Yes, you are, but I'm more prejudiced than you." He goes, "You're gonna have to learn that." And the truth is, everyone is racist. Everyone is. And I'm amazed all these people tell me they're not racist. And it's like, well, how many Black friends do you have? I live in Utah and I have Black friends. There's hardly Black people here. I had lunch with my Black friend 2 days ago and took him shopping for his birthday. When I go to Birmingham, I remember sitting there with a Black female friend who told me that, I said, "Is this inappropriate here?" She goes, "Yes, they are. People are looking at us because you're a white man and I'm a Black woman." And people say, "Well, I'm colorblind." Well, to a degree, I was colorblind because I was born poor. And it was no, it was just the way it was. It was just like, they were just the guys I hung out with. But I see all these people who are virtual signaling, "I'm not racist," right? If I was racist, I would do this. And they have no Black friends. And they don't help Black people, and they're not contributing to people's lives. It's like the hypocrisy is remarkable. And it's like, I believe that every culture is racist, and because we always fear what's opposite of what's different than us. It's a natural case that we fear who is different than us. And after I get close, I'm having a discussion with Black Lives with my buddy, and then it occurs to me, and I'm not kidding, it occurs to me 5 minutes in the conversation that he's Black. Now think about that. Okay, I'm not trying to virtue signal here. That was actually what happened. It's like, "Oh, you're Black." It becomes irrelevant once we have established a relationship, a loving relationship with someone. It actually becomes irrelevant. But when I lived in Taiwan, the Chinese were the most racist people I'd ever met, and they would openly talk about their disdain for people of the Philippines who were lower class. And then I had some Japanese friends who came to Taiwan who hated the Chinese. They thought of them as a lower class. The #1 toothpaste in Taiwan was called Heiran toothpaste, which means Black man. It basically is Negro toothpaste. Okay, it was a negative connotation. That was the name of their Colgate. Anyone who tries to tell you that white people in America are more racist is ridiculous. They haven't lived in other countries. Trust me. I've been to 24 countries and I've lived in 4 countries. I've got a pretty good shot. I got a pretty good sense of this. But what it's about, the virtue signaling with racism. You saw that girl, the woman in the park, who started screaming about the man who was Black. You saw that? They call her the Karen of Central Park. You saw that? And everyone thought, well, she's a Trump supporter, right? No, she was actually a dyed-in-the-wool progressive, had made huge donations to Hillary Clinton's campaigns. It's a sham. I would never had that experience with a man in there. And to say you're African American, it's a sham. And the people who are the most racist are those pointing fingers at other people. Okay, it's a question of everyone's broken. Everyone is afraid of people different from them. And that includes different religions. It includes different color skin. And what happens is you need to get involved in a loving relationship, and all of a sudden it goes away. All of a sudden it's different. And whether you're walking through a Chinese street gang, which I have, or you're living in an all-black neighborhood, which I did, and was I discriminated against? Absolutely, I was. Did they call me cornbread and peckerwood? Yep. And you just brush it off because the people that did that weren't my friends, and what they were just. Do my white friends call me names? Yeah, they did back then. But as a magnified community here, what we are about is loving all people and truly loving all people. And it begins, if you want to deal with racism, deal with the fact that you are part of you just genetically afraid of anyone different than you. And then step into that fear and say, okay, what does this mean? And what happens is it opens up a wonderful, beautiful world. And one I'm really grateful for, because every race has wonderful aspects, and there are good and bad people in every race. What we really are talking about are good and bad. But the people that sit around and just point and say, they're racist, they're racist. Those are the people that usually are the most racist, are the most hypocritical. Okay, I learned that I'm not afraid to die, which is interesting. I really saw that. It's like I actually spent several nights up thinking about that. It's like, I really am not afraid to die. And that was kind of relieving. I actually look at it. I have had enough spiritual experiences in contact with the other side and inspiration that I know there's something over there, and I think it's pretty good. And there are times when I've felt myself kind of anxious to be on the other side, and I find myself in this place where it's like, no, I think there's people over here who need me, and I know my grandchildren need me. I know my wife really needs me. But I feel more of that than the sense of this is where I belong. I guess the older I get, the more I feel a stranger on this world. Does that make sense? That that our spirits belong somewhere else. That's comforting to me. I have no desire to live forever. Well, at least not here. But I believe in something much better, and I have enough evidence of it in my life. Not coming at it in a way of looking for a crutch, but actually personal experiences and communications from the other side, from beyond the veil. Janica just wrote something I think is wonderful. Said early American had huge issues among immigrants, Irish versus German versus Italian. Then we started having children together. Now the average person can't identify those nationalities. Yeah, it never occurred to me that my wife was Italian until I went to her house and had only Italian food at Christmas when I was dating her. Janica, you're right. It's a good point. They used to talk about, right? They'd come up with names and okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, 7. The biggest news isn't in the news. We once had a free, I thought we once had a free press. I remember a Russian journalist saying to me when I was young, the difference between us and you, this was back when communism was running in a very controlled society, he goes, the difference between communist and capitalist press is we say less than we know and you say more than you know. Here I am, an aspiring young journalist, thinking I am going to be the next big newspaper writer. And I've written for 3 newspapers. And I'm interviewing, but I'm still in high school. And I was writing for the Salt Lake Tribune when I was in high school. So I was a pretty good writer back then. I just didn't know it. And I interviewed the publisher, and I was talking to him about journalistic integrity. And he said something that was a great gift. And I did not want to believe him at the time. He said, there is no integrity. He actually said this to me. He goes, let me just set you straight. This is a business. We're here to make money. Now, if he would he have said that to the press? Probably not. But he was saying it to an idealistic young man, and he goes, "We're a business." So if you think about that, the biggest news isn't in the news. The things that scare me aren't the things you see, aren't the things you see on the news or see on TV. I have a brother who's a spy, and he shares very little, but he doesn't need to share that much. I'm far more concerned about the arms buildup in China, which is equal to what Hitler was doing before he went to war. No one talks about that. When the leader, and I always get his name wrong, so I won't say it, of North Korea said he was ready to shoot a nuclear weapon at the US. You know, that's like Cuban Missile Crisis, October, October 1962 stuff, right? What was CNN talking about? Literally, I turned on the news to see what had come from this threat from North Korea that they could drop an atom bomb, a hydrogen bomb in San Francisco. And what do I read? Donald Trump had a double-decker ice cream cone and everyone else had a single, which must be a great metaphor of where he's going. At that point, I lost complete faith in the media. Complete faith. I'd already lost most of it, but at that point, it's like we've gotten to the point of absurdity. Media is entertainment. I learned this when I lived over in Italy. People would plan trips to come see us in Italy, and then they wouldn't come because of all the riots. So what riots? Oh yeah, against the Global Six, big riots in downtown Rome and Florence. There's no riots here. It's completely safe. And then I came over to the US to conduct some business, and I'm in Anaheim, and I see on the news that there's a massive riot near the Duomo in Firenze. And I call Carrie. She says, I wake up, it's like, keep the kids away. It's like, Jenna and Allison spent the day by the Duomo with their friends. So I got her on the phone. I said, did you see the massive riots and tear gas? She goes, what? She goes, I literally saw 4 people carrying signs and 6 news people in front of them. They walked by, we looked at them as we ate our gelato. And I'm in Anaheim, and they say all hell's broken loose. No wonder everyone's afraid to get here. News is entertainment. If it bleeds, it leads, right? If they can scare you, you will look at it. Don't be manipulated. Almost out of all the news stories on me, probably 3% have been correct. The only news institution I've ever seen that actually fact-checked was Reader's Digest. Time magazine doesn't. Nope. Newsweek doesn't. People magazine doesn't. They would change their stories on depending on whatever they want to say. It's like, I just talked to one reporter. That's not true at all. I know. But it read better than what you said to us. Isn't that fascinating? I've been doing this a long time, people. I've done more than 1,000 media interviews. And I'm telling you, less than 5% were completely accurate. Stop believing the news. Okay? It's entertainment. You might as well watch The Walking Dead if you want to learn about human behavior. Okay? Okay, number 8. If you're not open to discussion, you don't have a discussion. If you're afraid to defend your beliefs, you don't have beliefs. You have dogma. When I talk politics with friends, it's to actually talk about it, not to say what I believe and then be done. I only get frustrated, and if I understand that they are too afraid to confront truth, then I stop the discussion because there's no point. Because people, as I say in my book, as it starts in Noel letters. Bonnie, should I read it? When I was young, my father taught me something that has given me considerable insight into humanity. As you walk through life, he said, don't be surprised to find that there are fewer people seeking truth than those seeking confirmation of what they already believe. My father was right. I'm amazed at the mental gymnastics we go through to protect our beliefs, even when they're our own worst enemy. Sometimes it seems the shakier the belief, the tighter our grip. And have you noticed that when people are on really shaky ground with their belief system, it's like a ladder trembling. What do you do when a ladder trembles? Do you let go of the ladder? No. You hold on to it as hard tight as you can, right? You just grab it. But the ladder's the problem. You're better off to jump off onto something else, like a rain gutter or a tree limb, because the ladder's the thing that's unstable. And yet that's what we do with our belief systems when we're afraid. So to have the courage to just talk, it's a great place to be. It's a great place to say, tell me this. I was having a religious discussion with a pastor of a foreign church to me. And I remember I said something to him. He said something. I said, I just disagree with you. And I dogmatically told him, but it wasn't so dogmatic. I told him my experience. I said, this is what I believe. And he looked at me and said, you may be right. What you said sounds right. What did that do to the conversation? It gave me complete respect for this man. And we have had many wonderful learning conversations because I realized he wasn't here to convince me. He was on a quest for truth. He's one of those rare individuals. Be one of those rare individuals. As a member of the five kingdoms, we are holding on to our first and most important relationship is with our source. That's a very personal relationship and a very beautiful relationship. We don't need validation from anyone. I don't have to go ask my wife is it okay if I believe this when that source has already told me. Okay. When you are focused in your five kingdoms, it becomes a very natural experience. Okay, number 9, and there's 11 things I learned. Number 9, you're not as far from your enemy than you think. So when you're having these discussions, go to the basic ground. If someone tells me about communism, well, I'm for socialism. Okay, my sense is, well, my home is socialist. I make the money and I give it to everyone freely in my home, right? Don't I live a socialist life in that degree? I control the means of production within my home. I agree with sharing with the poor completely. Okay, so why am I a staunch capitalist? Because history bears it out, period. And anyone who will actually look at history, and I am a student of history. And if you want to see an interesting documentary, go see what happened. It said, why did China's economy improve? There's actually a documentary on Amazon Prime, which is fascinating. And it talks about how they embraced capitalism and how it transformed them into the fastest growing economy in the world, which in 30 years or 20 years may overcome our economy for the first time. And why? Because they realized socialism didn't work. And I think it was Chairman Deng, who, when he went to Japan, he realized they were so isolated that they didn't know what was happening in the rest of the world. And when he went to Japan and he saw that the poorest Japanese were living better than the richest Chinese, he realized that what they were teaching was a lie. So he came back and they opened up capitalism. They opened up education for non-party members. And what happened? Their economy exploded. The change, I've been to China 3 times. The change in those times is stunning to me. And the last time I was there, it was remarkable to see the power of that economy and where people were and the wealth, entire cities of millionaires. It's fascinating to see what was going on there. And yes, there is still abuse of the system. And there's still privilege and favoritism there. Absolutely there is. And people connected to the party get certain benefits. Yeah, that still exists. But the truth is, the groups that were growing during that time were those that were taking care of themselves. Most of them were starving up to that point. That's why I believe that if you look at the best economy in the world is Switzerland. Switzerland is not socialist. It is compassionate capitalism. That is the answer. Sweden is not a socialist country. They are by index more capitalist than the US. Do your history, and they actually at one point did, I think it was about 11 years ago, did try to embrace a complete socialism, and they fell so quickly. Their economy dropped out of the top 50. It fell so quickly, they changed all their laws back because they realized it was not sustainable. Now, if you're talking about working through government and helping people, absolutely. Does there need to be temperance? Yes, we need compassionate capitalism. Ideally, we need compassionate people. So, Paula, you have a comment?
We have some socialist programs, though.
Absolutely.
We have K through 12, which is paid by taxpayers. We have firefighters and police officers who are paid by taxpayers.
Okay, now you're misunderstanding. Okay, this is incorrect. That is not socialism. Okay, that's not socialism. Having programs is not socialism. Socialism, look it up. Go look at the definition of what socialism is, and this is where the confusion comes in. Okay, socialism. I'm Paula. So see, this is my point. We're not far off from the other standpoints. Thank goodness we have education. Thank goodness we have firefighters. Thank goodness we have police officers. Absolutely. That's not socialism. Socialism, if you look at the definition, before I switched over to communications, I was a poli-sci major, but that was my job, political. I ran political campaigns for 12 years. Socialism is when the state controls the means and the way of production completely. Okay, IKEA is not a socialist from Sweden, is not socialist. This massive company. So that's why it's important that we understand terms and terminology. I was having a fierce discussion, and thank you, Paula. But see, this is, and you actually made my point, because Paula, you have a good heart, and I know it. We've had our discussions, and you have a loving heart, and you know what? So do I. And if I see someone broken down the side of the road, I stop and I help them. I never pass them. Why have I taken most of my wealth and given it to help abused children? Okay. I believe in good. I believe it's a better way to live. And guess what? It's proved me right, because I am happy. I am happy and I have good kids, and I am a very blessed man. Someone once asked why I don't live in a mansion. We did live in a pretty big house for a while. And I said, you know where my mansion is? I have a mansion. My mansion is inhabited by about 1,500 abused children every year. That's where my mansion is. And that's what I'm talking about. But I also believe in that dream, the fact that we can build by using our talents, and then to turn around and to give back and not be coerced into that. But unfortunately, not everyone believes that. And for those reasons, it is important that people don't take advantage of this wonderful culture that we create, and that we do build up to build and protect our society. And that includes military as well. So thank you, Paula. You actually completely demonstrated what I was talking about. I was having a conversation with my agent, and I remember during a lot of the, back then it was just lesbian, gay. It wasn't LGBTQT. It wasn't all the letters. It was just, and there was this big discussion, and someone from, I think it was actually Chastity Bono, asked my agent. You remember Sonny and Cher's daughter? No, not Bono. What was that show? Sonny and Cher. Yeah, Bono. Yeah, so she asked me, how could you be friends with Richard Paul Evans? You know, this white guy, Christian guy, and she said, he loves me. I thought that was the right answer. And we've had discussions, and we've had, you know, the thing is, as we are as far apart on the political polar range as you could imagine, and yet we have been friends, close, dear friends, family for 30 years. How is that possible? How do I see her as my sister, as my friend? Because that relationship is vital, and because it is based in honesty. If she can tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me. Okay, I'm not afraid to change. I'm not afraid to hear what I'm doing wrong. I remember one time we were having this discussion, and finally at the end of it, I said, "You're a mother with a son. Is this the world you want him to grow up in?" And all of a sudden she stopped. But I recognized at the time that she was just pouring out dogma. She wasn't talking truth. Some of it was true, but a lot of it was just politicized. I said, "Is that the world you want Timothy to live in?" And she was quiet. She goes, "No, no, I'm sorry." But I'm not afraid of the truth. And I don't, if you can tell me a better way, I'll listen. And if you're off, I'll tell you if I have experience to show that. Because that's the beauty of a democracy, is the opportunity to talk and to experiment and find what's better. And I believe it's government's place to find that time when we go off the rails, when it's not working. And there have been times in our history that's happened. You know, the rail barons, and there are times when, Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle. People got stuck in horrific things, and it was wise for the government to get involved and to, as a people, that we say, we want to pull this in, because we can't always just rely on people's good hearts, because there will always be bad actors. There always have been. Okay. The last is, when you vote, don't vote for personalities. And this is important as you think about it. Hitler had a really great personality. He was kind of the Obama of his day. I have studied thousands of pages on Hitler. Why did they like him so much? Why did people swoon when he walked in? He actually sounded he was very loyal. He did not take from the state. He did not believe in smoking or drinking or drugs or philandering. He made his money off of his book. He was a freaking Boy Scout. I mean, if you look at him. In the meantime, you have Churchill, who was racist, an alcoholic. He was so hated that Lady Astor said, "If you were my husband, I would put poison in your tea," to which he replied, "If I were your husband, I would drink it." One of the greatest comebacks of all time. Roosevelt was involved with the mob. He was an aristocrat. What you have to do is look at what people are, what direction they're going. Because personality, first of all, I don't really know his personality. It's interesting because I've gotten close enough. I've sat in hotel rooms with politicians late at night during campaigns, and I've seen some things that would turn your blood cold. I've seen some things that were awesome. I stopped at I'm sitting there with a congressman. It's like, no, do not go. Yes, I know you have a room that your wife doesn't know about. Do not go with that campaign worker over there. You just got elected. That would be the stupidest thing you can do. Okay. I've seen horrible things. I've seen awesome things. I've seen incredible compassion as well. But I guarantee you have no idea what's happening out there. I have enough contacts inside that are fascinating. My brother was telling me some stuff from about one of the candidates, and he said, yeah, he had some friends on the Secret Service who were protecting him. It's not always what you think. Some people are just better at hiding their faults than others, and some are just much more savvy with the media than others. Look at actions. Okay. I watch with, there's some really horrific womanizing things, right, that President Trump has done. They aren't even close. They aren't even close to what John F. Kennedy was doing. And John F. Kennedy was the right president at that time. He probably saved America. There's a reason people loved Kennedy. I loved Kennedy. But the Secret Service's number one job was to move women in and out and keep them away from Jackie. Sexually, the man was insatiable. But you know what? He saved the country. So you have to just be careful when you're looking at personality. And I am just as guilty as anyone pointing and saying, I've met Hillary Clinton twice. People tell me all about her. It's like, have you been in a room with her? You talked to her? I have. I was with Bill Clinton the week he had the thing with, what was her name? I look back, it's like, oh my gosh, he did look distracted when I was talking to him. It's like, I was with him that week. People are people. And people have faults. Stop looking for perfect people. They don't exist. You're not perfect. You're not even close. So once we accept how broken we are, then we can start loving right. We don't love because you're good. We love because we want to be good. This is an opportunity this week. What am I going to do this week? I think I'm going to go give blood on Tuesday. What do you think, Diane? I think I want to serve on that day. I think I want to, on Wednesday, no matter how the election goes, be loving and be caring. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying I don't have an opinion. I'm not saying I don't have fears. But things seem to work out usually. And I really do believe God is at the helm. I've seen enough divine intervention in my life. And I also look forward to staying close to all of you, because we have different political opinions on here, and that's okay. I think we all we're here because we have the exact same goal and the same belief that we want to be connected with our source, that we want to, we don't want God on our side. We want to be on his side. And we want to be forces. And just as you have seen, and in fact, I need to remind you of the 5 kingdoms, that as we grow, you become powerful in your first kingdom, connected with your source of tremendous courage and love. And courage and love do come from the same source. And then to branch out, to spread that love with our families and pass that with our friends, especially right now. And with that love has a way of crossing over fear. I remember one time I walked up into a really wild party, and there were some gang members there, and I thought, at the time, it's like I went to see an old friend of mine. And I thought, why do I have no fear? It's like, because my heart was filled with love. And I'll never forget, he put down his beer and said, "Ricky boy," and ran over and hugged me. And it's like, love is a powerful thing. So let's take that love and then move it out into our institutions. Let us be kind in our jobs and where we work and in those situations. It doesn't mean we have to be quiet, but just don't be dogmatic. Talk. Beautiful things come from truth. Seek truth. And then the last, let's be a light to the world. I'm having, as I said, I just really appreciate you. I'm ready. After this election week, we're going to start selling the Kingdom Organizers. We are actually pitching the book, I think this week, to a major publisher who's already reached out and said they want it. Imagine when that book goes out. Ben Hardy has just done a test. He thinks we can get 50,000 books out the first week. I think he's right. Could you imagine that? 50,000 people reading that book. So I'm going to need all of you, because we're going to send people to you. But our goal is simple: to bring people to a way of life. The organizer is just a way to use it. But to bring people to a life where they can experience joy and magnification. That's what we're about. One other thing I'd like to invite you to, I am having so much fun with the Christmas box house. It is just exploding. Seriously, I feel like I just pulled the Ferrari out of the garage. It's been sitting there, it's covered with dust, and I went and washed it, and the engine's still great. We have been doing such great things with the kids, and blessings to you, the donors. Someone sent us, this is incredible. Someone sent us, and Diane helped with this, a stack of 70 Starbucks cards. Now, what good is 70 Starbucks cards with the kids? Those workers in there with the kids are way underpaid, and there's too few of them because the state can't legally make people go in with the kids. So they're for them. They're to brighten their day, to go through and give them Starbucks cards and say you're appreciated. You know, we just did a breakfast for them to show appreciation. It makes a big difference when people are putting their lives and their hearts on the line. And you know what? It's because of you. You guys are, it's like our community and our world is reaching out, and it's so much fun. And so, Adrian and Janelle, I'm so glad you're here. CJ, we were talking about these cards. If you go, I'll put it on the Cornerstone page. I did a little test today to see if people wanted. We're going to create these Defend Children coins, and I put it on there, and it went nuts. Diane, we have more than 45 orders already. Isn't that crazy? That's on my small page. So I don't dare put it anywhere else, because if I put it to my big group, we could have thousands. We can't handle it. But anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to print these coins, Defend Children. It's a great little reminder and carry on. And all the profits from these coins, they're silver coins, will go to the Christmas Box House and our partners, saving children's lives. Doesn't that sound fun? And what I'm hoping is that I think silver, my personal thought is that silver is good. I'm investing in silver. I'm buying 1,000 coins myself. Okay. I believe in this completely. So these coins, I believe silver is going to go way up in value. So what would be really cool is that everyone is personally profited by helping children. What a cool thing that is. So I think it's really cool. Do you like that idea? A Defend Children coin? So Ruth just asked, where can we get the coins? Do this, email me, okay? Email me at author. Diane, will you type this in there in chat? author@richardpaulevans.com, and we'll contact you. We're still working out the final deal with the mint. It's going to be a challenge. So many people want to get them for Christmas. Worst case scenario, we have enough of the Kingdom or the Tribe of Kings coins, which we can give, and then we'll trade out straight across at any time if someone wants to get the Defend Children coins. Anyway, these are great opportunities. So many opportunities have come during this pandemic, and that's what I wanted to share with you. I know a few people who have lived in a bunker mentality. Don't. I've been doing online book signings, virtual book signings. You know what the bookstores have all told me? They're having their best months ever. Say, how can that be? Your store shut down. Oh, we found ways around it. One of them in Phoenix said, we struggled at first, now we're just poured in. It's pouring in. It's awesome. Don't tell him when he goes, don't tell him when I said that. I just did. One of the charities we were talking to last week with Christmas Box House said we had our best giving year ever. People are giving. They want to be involved. It's like, it's those people who are living the bunker mentality who are going to lose out. So have faith. Have courage. There are things to be learned. The biggest thing I hate about this is not being able to hang out with you guys. Someone posted a picture of Coeur d'Alene the other day and said, oh, it wouldn't it be great we could all go up here, our no elves. It's like, I would do it in a heartbeat. I want to take you all out for pizza is what I want to do right now. So as soon as we can get together, I miss you. And I'm so grateful for the chance to be with you. But there are wonderful opportunities. And so I send you my prayers and with my hope that this week that we're going to see things. There will be people who will want to incite violence, or people who want to incite hate, not us. And the news will exaggerate anything they see. Know that. Anything you see on TV is exaggerated. Know that. I know that. Just like the riots in Florence, as my daughter sat there and all that violence, eating gelato and laughing with her friends at the 4 people with signs and the big paparazzi trying to get a story. Okay? You might as well just watch entertainment because it's probably more accurate. So thanks so much for being here tonight. Good luck this week. Again, Diane posted on the chat. It's just author at richardpaulevans.com. That's not hard. And what we'll do is once we're ready, we'll reach out and contact you about those coins and how that's going to work. But that's my goal. I see Christmas Box House is just, it's exploding with the good we're doing. It's fascinating the work we're doing. I was talking to Eros tonight, our extractor. They have tracked down a new, it's so sad, a new trafficker has moved into Utah from California, a sex trafficker. And they've tracked him down up here. So he's up here. And, you know, I just say, keep it safe, man. And he always lives with three escape routes. He goes, if I'm down to one escape route, I call off the mission. He goes, I don't want to die. So anyone, I love it. Anyone who wears a bulletproof vest to work has my admiration. But he's going in and saving kids and bringing down traffickers. And we get to be part of that. He showed me his new car that you guys helped buy. And I can only show you the fender because it's a surveillance car. It would kind of defeat the purpose if I show you what he's driving. Right? But thank you. We raised that money in 1 week. So thanks for making that happen. Paula, you got something to say? Go ahead. Oh,
What?
go ahead.
I have a neighbor that really wants to be involved with the Underground Railroad with Tim Ballard and sex trafficking. So how do I tell her to get in touch with Tim or you or somebody?
Send them to us.
What?
Where do you live, Paula?
I live in Sandy.
Okay. Have her contact me. Send her my email there. We don't we don't necessarily endorse Operation Underground Railroad. And I don't do that out of hate. I just have too much. I know too much, and too many other people are coming over to me right now. But if you look, if they're not, I'll just say they're not being the kind of stewards with the money they're given they should be.
Well, she had a teenage daughter who got involved with an older boy who abused her. And they were lucky enough to get her. She had to get out of the country or he would have found her in the country somewhere.
Isn't that crazy?
So they were lucky enough that they had family in England. And that family knew someone that needed a nanny. And so they got her out into England.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Yeah, have her contact me. The stories that we're dealing with are pretty intense. They're really intense. In fact, I'm talking to them, and if I go, I'm going to hang up, man, because they're like, okay, she's packing. She's packing. High situational awareness. I love all the terms coming out. She's looking for us, and it's intense. And there's a lot of evil that we need to counter.
Yeah.
And we need to be really smart about it, and we need to be very deliberate about it. And so I'm really grateful that I'm meeting people who have really good ideas. But the big thing we want to do is we want to prevent it. And a lot of our kids are getting sucked up into situations that are dangerous. And that's because once a kid goes through the system, it's years and years. I know this from Christmas Box House, years of dealing with psychiatrists and therapists and trying to help them. Let's just try to keep them from falling into that place. And even if they don't have a good family unit to protect them, then let's step in as a compassionate community and let's just show them a better route and give them options. Because it's happening. There's just too much abuse. So, oh my goodness, Bonnie. Yeah, it's happening all around us. And we have really good ideas. And we won't save all of them, but I want to save hundreds of thousands of them. We're not going to save all, but I think we can save hundreds of thousands. And the fact that we've already helped 125,000 abused children through the Christmas Box House, I just need to get my game up. I need to get off my butt and do something. Okay, that's the plan. Let's take it to the next level. So, yeah, Paul.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Do you, the Christmas box house, is that mostly taking kids out of their homes when they've been abused or neglected?
Thank you for that question.
A temporary place so that DCFS?
I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah, we don't take kids out. What we are is we're an emergency shelter when kids are out. So if you see in the news that there's a meth house is busted, we got those kids. At one time, a guy, I think he broke in the temple with a gun. He had like 8 children with him, and to the Jordan River Temple, and we got those kids. If a police officer picks up a child in the middle of the night, we got that kid. Before we existed, there was no place for them to go. That was the problem. And see, the thing is, when you pick up a kid, it's kind of like when approaching a stray dog. You don't know what's happened to that dog. You don't know if it's going to bite you or lick you. And so it's like, we need some time to figure out what this child needs. That's why we were created. We were actually a mind meld. We were, it was a brain trust of a group of people saying, what do we need? And it was a response to one question: what's the most important thing we can do to help children? And then what happened is we become, I'm really proud of this number. The percentage of money that goes to programs that we bring in, 88.1%. That's really high. No one's getting rich off Christmas Box House. The only negative Christmas Box House has on its rankings is that the rankings will say its debt to operation is too high, and that's because they owe me millions of dollars. I've loaned them in addition to giving them, and I'm not about to pull that rug out from under them. But that's the only negative that any rankings will show of Christmas Box House, is that I have loaned them too much money. So I am so proud of this organization. If you would like to be involved, our goal, if we could get to 1,000 recurring donors, and if you're looking at a charity, we are so careful with that money and we magnify it. I'll tell you one last story. We're going over, but this was interesting. I was asked to speak at the state legislature. I'll never forget this because I didn't want to do it. I didn't ever want to ask for money from the state. I had by this point, I had already put more than $2.5 million of my own money into it. And I go up there and all these people are up there begging for money and telling sob stories, horrible stories about things that were happening to kids. And all worthy. I mean, I think they're all probably worthy charities. And then it got to be my turn. And I went up and I told them that they needed to fund this program with the county because legally they had to. And I said, look, I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to ask for money. This is against our rules, against our mission. And I'll never forget, this legislator goes, oh, so if we give you $1, you'll leave us alone and be happy? And I said, sir, I said, Senator, if you give us $1, I'll give you $4 of services for your children. And he just froze. And they all looked at each other. And then someone stood up and said, well, it's about time someone got it. And it turned into this love session. And they said, you got your money. You got whatever you need. And so that's where about magnification. Where do you hear that? We get some money in here, we magnify it. So anyone who wants to do volunteer work, anyone who wants to work in the community, let us know, come out. We will respect where you are and what you're doing. And we will respect that money as sacred money. Our people are underpaid. They do it because their hearts are in the right place. And that's what we do. So just let us know. We'll let you know how you can help. So, all right.
One more question.
Okay, Paul.
Can we volunteer now or do we have to wait till COVID is over?
You have to wait till COVID. Right now, the kids, I can't get in with the kids. We take things and leave them at the door, literally. So you can't go in with the kids right now, but get on the list and we'll let you know. If you want to be a long time caregiver, then you need to have a background check. You know, we're very careful. It's not a big deal. It's not, but we just need to make sure those kids are safe. That's our #1 priority. But thank you for asking. Love to have you involved. There's other ways to be involved. Yes.
Rick, this is Doug. We actually do have a volunteer opportunity this Thursday up at the Ogden House. We need people to help out, clean up the yard and winterize it. We've got apples on the ground that need picking up, weeds that need
Fantastic.
picking up. So Thursday we'll start at 4 o'clock at the Ogden House. We just ask that you send us an email and let us know you're coming.
Doug, where do you want that email sent?
Let's have them do it on the website. If they'll go to our website, we have an email form there now
I'm gonna
that
put
they
this
can
right
send
here.
an email and specifically click on that they want to volunteer and leave a message that they want information about Thursday.
And it's the christmasbox.org.
Right. And it's the one up in Ogden that we need some help
Email,
with.
and we'll contact you and let you know. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Doug. Thanks for speaking out. Yeah, there is
You
stuff
bet.
like that that goes on, especially we've really been cleaning out all the houses and making them nice and repairing things. And Ryan Peltekian, one of the Tribe of Kings, he went in there with his company and cleaned those carpets for the first time in years. I mean, the county has challenges too. And that's what we do. We magnify and we serve, and so grateful for Ryan and his company. So if you need some carpets cleaned for your business or something, Ryan's your man. Okay. We appreciate him. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much. God bless you all. Have a great week. Okay. And we have fun things coming up. Look forward to good things. Okay. Have hope. Be of good cheer. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
thanks all.